Thank you everyone for joining us this afternoon. It is a pleasure for you to be here with us. I would like to present Luann. She's one of our CAN ambassadors, and she has a wonderful presentation for you today. So Luann, you want to go ahead?
Yes, I am ready. Good afternoon. Let us get started. We'll jump right into the first slide. Okay, this presentation is called Lightning Decision Making, and we're going to talk about how to take that meeting that you are facilitating and make it a little bit more productive so that you can set some goals and action steps. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. You can go to the next screen, Alicia. Before we get started, doing a couple of things right now. I'm a former child care center owner. I had my center for 30 years and I sold it about a year ago to get more involved in the seat as a PD specialist and training and consulting. Like I said, I'm a PD specialist, I'm a coach and consultant and a PQuas trainer. And I work for Keystone College as a instructor for the CDA coursework. And I'm very, very excited to be here today to do this presentation for you. I hope that you have some great questions at the end for me. Take some notes. I'm going to try to get you a little bit involved in this process so you can really understand it. But let's go to the next screen and we'll talk about what this is all about. So what is lightning decision making? Lightning decision making is really, it's a tool they can use at meetings to identify problems, turn them into challenges, and take the first steps to resolve them. All right, this can be used for small groups or it could be used for hundreds of employees. And it was created by AJ Smart Company to eliminate useless, unstructured discussions. Now, why am I presenting this to you and where did I find him? So in my work as a director, I tried to find so many different ways to pull information from my employees so that we could, set some goals and some plans for our program to better. And oftentimes when we came together, it became a complaining session or a place for people to meet and chat, or everybody had something to say and it was hard to really pull it together. And over the years, I tried different things. I tried to bring dinner or coffee and donuts or, ask specific questions ahead of time, or even had incentive for people who would, come together with more questions so that we can problem solve things. And there's always one or two who raise their hand a lot. But it still was something that I really wanted to grow in my own work. And so I started to seek out other places where I can learn how to facilitate a meeting. And I found AJ and Smart. And you can find him online. At the end of this, I'm going to give you like a little kind of how to do this so that you could facilitate this on your own if you wanted to. But that's why we're here today. I'm hoping that this is going to help you as well. So let's go to the next slide. So why should you use this method? All right, so it doesn't matter where you work or what job you're in. If you work with other people together as a team, you will encounter the same challenges. All right, unclear goals and miscommunication that cause busy work and overtime. We've all experienced that. Unstructured meetings that leave attendants tired, confused, and without clear outcomes. And you'll be surprised when you facilitate this, how confused people really are. Frustration that builds up because internal challenges to productivity are not addressed. So maybe there is something that's laying around that somebody wants to discuss, but they don't feel comfortable to do that. And so that thing just kind of perpetuates. Sudden changes in priorities lead to a loss of focus and momentum. And if you work in the childcare industry or you know that that focus could change weekly, daily, hourly. And so this helps to keep things on track. And then muddled compromise takes the place of clear decision making, leaving everybody to produce their own interpretation of what's going on. So this is going to be a really good method to get clarity around all of these things. All right, Alicia. Now, I just want to note that Alicia's helping me with the PowerPoint because we had a little tech problem, but this is working out great. Thank you so much. All right, how will lightning decision making help you? Okay, you're going to be able to identify and define the problems quickly to avoid a social gathering, okay? You'll be able to come up with a lot of solutions, creative ones or obvious ones that may have been overlooked. You'll be able to find the best solution, the next step based on the impact of the best solution, and arrive at clear action steps and their owners that can start being implemented as soon as the meeting concludes. And I will tell you, I just finished doing this with 8 center directors, all from the same program. Their executive director asked me to have a director's leadership session with them, and I used this, and it was amazing. It was amazing. There are some kinks in it, and I'm going to address them with you so that you're aware of that and that you could be thinking about how to solve that issue or those issues. But otherwise, we were so productive. We got this done in about 45 minutes. Now, our meeting went longer because we took it to another level with the coaching aspect of it and how to implement some of those action steps. But you could really get this done in about an hour. All right, next slide. All right, so for today's goals, I'm going to share with you how using lightning decision making can help you add more structure, clarify ideas, and make fast decisions, all while you're having fun. And I've got the letter F in there, which is funny. 2, to provide you a list of supplies you'll need before scheduling the meeting, the things you already have in your office, to teach you the actual steps to facilitate the meeting. And I will teach you post-meeting prompts to assess the work. And I will also give you an opportunity at the end of this to continue to learn more. So let's go to the next slide. I think we're going to dive right into it. All right. These are the things you would need: some markers, some square posts in 2 different colors, a rectangular post-it notes with lines in it, and 2 different colors would be great. 1 is fine. You need some voting dots. You probably have some of those things in your preschool classroom. Some focus play music. You could use your phone for that, and some sort of a timer, or you can use your phone for that. So when I'm speaking to you, I'm assuming that you might be the facilitator of this meeting. And we do like to use a timer that's more visual. So if you have one, I always recommend using that. So these are the supplies you would need. So let's go on to the next slide. All right. Who should participate? So you're going to facilitate your next staff meeting. Let's say you're having monthly meetings or you have a big meeting coming up. Maybe this is going to be with a big group of people. Even with your board members, you could do this. Okay. The best group size. So the best group size would be 3 to 4. The ideal size is 8. 8 is a magic number for this. Okay. So if you have 22 people in your organization that are going to be at this meeting, you're going to sit them at different tables and group them. Okay. If you have a real larger group, it's going to be the same thing. You're going to group people into smaller group sizes, okay? Then one person needs to be the facilitator, kind of the gatekeeper of what's going on and facilitating these things, okay? So if that's going to be you, this is great. You're in the right place because you're going to learn how to do that. All right, next one. All right, so let's say you organized your meeting, okay? There's really nothing you need to tell anyone prior to the meeting. You've picked the date of the meeting, you're going to have the meeting, right? You're the one that needs to be prepared. So you're going to bring your supplies and you're going to get started at the meeting. And you will tell everyone the instructions as you go along, okay? And you might just want to introduce that you're trying something new because you want to cut to the chase and get to these things so that this meeting can go quickly and you have some clear action steps, right? So you just want to share that real general, okay? So you're going to pick 1 color sticky notes to work with, okay? And you have to have enough for everybody in the room, everybody in the meeting, all right? If you have groups of people and you have separated them and you're using the pink sticky note, then everybody has to have the pink sticky note, okay? You're going to create a sailboat with a wavy line on a board. This could be a whiteboard board, a chalkboard, a poster board, anything you want to do, okay? And you're just going to draw this just like this, any kind of a sailboat with an anchor and a wavy line going through. You probably already figured out that one part of this is going to be the positive stuff and the other is going to be the negative, all right? So the top represents the things that are going well, And the bottom, underneath the wave, the challenges or problems or things that are holding us back. Okay, you're going to lay the ground rules. This is where it gets a little tricky for some people who are used to letting you or allowing them to kind of just have conversations throughout the meeting. Or maybe you've been in that situation where you've had an hour-long meeting with your team and you've done all the talking. So this is going to be totally different. All right. Everybody in the team works on their own in silence without discussion. So that's the first aha you're going to get. And one, I told you there's a couple of things that might cause problems. When I was doing the training, facilitating this for the 8 directors, one person was very, very talkative. So you want to make sure you're thinking about how you're going to address that when you do this, so that you're not kind of faced with it like right in front of you. You don't know what to say. Okay, so you have to lay the ground rules pretty strongly. Like, this is, we're working together, but alone. And everybody's going to get to say whatever they want, but we're not having a discussion about it yet, right? So the ground rules are everyone in the team works on their own in silence without discussion, okay? And then you're going to kind of frame the topic of the meeting briefly. So maybe you're going to say the topic of the meeting is safety. So just something like very, very general. I'm just going to pick one statement that's very, very general. Okay. Your responses from your team are probably going to go off on other things. They're definitely going to go off on other things, but you want to, frame it out with one major topic. All right, let's go to the next one. So if you were doing this, you would be doing it just like I'm doing it for you, the same exact thing. I'm telling you what to expect and how it's going to go down, okay? So now step 2, you're going to tell your team, focus on the positive. Focus on the positive. And I want you to tell me everything that's going right. Now, I will tell you that, I am positivity is absolutely, like, we have to be positive. We have to generate that. We have to, model that. But this meeting is about getting to the challenges and the problems. So we don't spend a lot of time on this, but give everyone a chance to tell what they feel is going right. Every different thing that they want to say has to be put on a different sticky note. So if I'm saying 5 things, I'm getting a lot of support. I have increased family engagement recently. I feel like I'm getting the resources I need from my boss. Whatever those things are, they have to be put on different sticky notes. So you tell your team that, okay? You can go to the next slide. And then what you do is you ask them to very quickly, in that first one on focusing on the positive, that should take about 6 minutes. And that's why you're using a timer, so that they can gauge how much time they have. And you quickly ask them to state what it is that they are saying, and they get to put their sticky notes up on top of the boat. So I'm going to show you at the very end the example of what it looks like when a lot of people are involved in this. Okay, but right now I'm just showing you a small version of it. So all the blue sticky notes would be up at the top. Everybody gets a chance to go up. So that's why if you have a lot of people in your team, you can do these in smaller groups, 6 to 8. 8 is ideal. And they would be posting theirs on their own boat. So you'd have a different boat for each group. And then the second part is remind them in between, there's no discussion, you're doing this on your own. On every sticky note, I want you to tell me what problems you're having right now. What is going on right now that, is something that you want to talk about. And you will get people write 15 sticky notes. You'll get somebody who's stuck on one. They don't have to write it in a full sentence. They can write one word. And while they're doing this, you're kind of assessing what is going on, what people are writing, and just giving them a chance and a space to do that. All right, so go ahead on to the next one. Next slide. All right. Then what we do is you allow them to go up and put the problems underneath the boat. Now, at this point, you don't have them state what it is. So when they put the positives up, they state what it is. When they put the negatives up, they just put them up, because you want to avoid people commenting or associating my complaint or my challenge with me. And you just want to, it's a great way to allow people to say what they want to say and not have judgment made on them. So the first step is put those positives up, let them say those things out loud. The second is the challenges, and just let them put them up there. Okay. And then the fourth step is everyone gets 3 votes. So they get 3 of the circle stickies, whatever you're going to use for that. Okay. And they have to go up to all the challenges that are on the board, and they have to prioritize where they feel is the biggest one. It could be the one they put up there, it could be someone else's. And if they feel really strongly about something, they could put 2 or 3 on one. So they can go up and say, I think this one is one, this one is one, and this one is one. Or they can say, this one is one, and put 2 circles up there. So you're going to ask them to prioritize. And this is really, really a cool moment, because everybody's getting to see all the challenges, but they don't know who put the challenges up there. I mean, it'll come out in the end, because we're going to be doing some action steps based around them. But what we're doing as a facilitator is eliminating wasting time on things that maybe could get fixed very quickly. So maybe it's something silly like the time clock doesn't work. And, every time I go to clock in, the time clock. So maybe somebody put that up there as a challenge, like, can we get the time clock fixed, right? That would be something you would just take down at the end, and you would fix that. You would fix that problem. But these things that they will put up there, there'll be challenges that are going to have to be thought about. So this is a great way to prioritize. So this is what we have now. And now we go to the next step, Elisa. All right. Your job now is to arrange them in order of priority, basically like a pyramid. Okay. There's no formal way of doing this, but I took all the ones that had a 4 on them. And let's say there's 8 people in my group and one of them had 8. I would put the one with the highest one at the top and then go down the pyramid. And we're going to be focusing on the top 2 levels, maybe the top 3 levels. Okay. What I do at this point is, if there's things that have been repeated and said twice, 3 times, whatever, by individuals, I just put those sticky notes on top of each other. So in the example I'm going to show you at the end, many of the directors said, how do I deal with challenging behaviors? Or how do I help my staff deal with challenging behaviors? We just took all those sticky notes and put them on top of each other, so that you don't have 5 sticky notes that say, how do you deal with challenging behaviors, right? So once you do that, then you can compile this arrangement of priority, like arrange everything in what is the priority right now. All right, go ahead to the next one. All right, then we're going to reframe the problem as standardized challenges. Okay, so we're not going to call them problems anymore. We're going to make them challenges. And you're going to use the line sticky notes for this. And we're going to, I thought this was the best part of this whole process, because sometimes I would get stuck on wanting to solve the problem immediately for a staff person. That's like my demeanor. Like, I just want to solve the problem. Let's go. Let's figure it out. Let's solve the problem. Where the actual process of making it into a challenge is where you're going to engage your team to be part of the process of solving the problem. So we use the how might we, and how means how we assume we can take action and find solutions. So how we can assume we can take action and find solutions, how we might suggest there is more than one possible solution. And then we suggest that we work together and build on each other's ideas. So it's how might we, or how we might. So how might we? So let's look at an example. All right, so let's say the top voted sticky note says, I have no idea what is happening with Project X. You can turn it into a question that people can find answers to without already prescribing a solution. So how might we keep everyone in the loop on all future projects, right? In the other example, it might be, how might we train our staff to deal with challenging behaviors? So it shifts from, I have no idea what's happening with the projects. So there are people in our company that don't know what's going on with the projects, to how can we keep everyone in the loop with future projects? It shifts from, how do we deal with challenging behaviors, to how can we train our staff so they can deal with challenging behaviors? So it just flips it and makes it such a nice way of looking at things. So let's go to the next slide. All right. Then you're going to, so let's just recap right now, because I know it seems like a lot of steps, and it actually is not that many steps at all when you just kind of go through it. You're focusing on the positive, and then you're coming up with the problems, and then you're prioritizing which ones are most important. And then you as a facilitator are organizing them and putting them together. And then we're changing them into challenges. So now we have to ideate a mass of solutions. And everybody gets the same sticky note, but it's a different color. And these are some of the ideas related to that first problem I just mentioned. So somebody said midweek check-in to discuss all projects. Somebody said project board showing all work. A use of an app like ManyChat to keep up. Invite all team members to a project kickoff. End the week retro with all teams. So everybody just starts writing down on these sticky notes in a time frame you give them, 5 to 6 minutes. Each one of these steps you can really, you'll know how much time you're really going to need. When people are putting down challenges, they need the most time to do that. They might need some time to do this, to come up with some ideas, because they really have to think on their own. They're not having conversations with their colleagues or their team members at this point. They're still coming up with their own solutions. And it's really, I can't reiterate it enough, it's really a great way to get people thinking. And you're going to have one person who comes up with 2 sticky notes and one that comes up with 10, and that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine. If I have somebody who's not doing anything at all, then I will prompt them. I will say something like, well, I know that you are very good at this. And then just kind of give them the encouragement or the confidence to put their thoughts down on paper. So we ideate a mass of solutions. All right, let's go to the next slide. And then we're going to prioritize the solutions. Which ones are good ideas? You're going to have some stuff that's not a good idea. One of them might be something like raises or more time off. Okay, those things need to be addressed. But if it's something that's just not going to happen, like in the next 6 months or in the next 4 months, then that might be something that has to go at the bottom of this, and have to work on stuff that we know that's tangible, because we're going to take that action plan and it's going to be in place for about 2 weeks. We're going to be meeting our goals very, very quickly. So the team gets to go up and put up on the board all their solutions, and now they get to go up and put what their priority is in terms of the solutions. All right, let's go to the next one. All right. You can also, I should have put that in here, but you should also prioritize in the pyramid of the solutions. All right. So now you're going to decide what to execute on. So you have your problems or your challenges, and then you have your solutions. Now you have to determine which solutions you should implement right away, which should be turned into a bigger project, and which should you shelve for now. All right. And you're going to guide this. All right. You want to utilize your time efficiently, but this is going to be where we're having this open conversation with our team. This is where people get to, come back and forth and have a conversation about it. But you have to facilitate it. Your flow has been going great. Everybody's on task. You're at this point now. You don't want this to take an hour. You want to be conscious of time, and you want to get to the answers of these 3 questions. So it's basically, okay, team, what should we implement right away? Well, you've all said that these are priorities. We agree, let's address these. Yes. Okay. Which should we be turned into bigger projects? Okay, maybe someone is saying they don't have enough supplies, or they're not getting the resources that they need. That might be, okay, we know that our grant time frame is coming up in another few months. Let's put that on the bigger project thing. Or maybe there's a structural problem that needs to be addressed, that can be on a bigger project. And then what should you shelve for now? What's really, it's important, but it's not as important as the other two. And this is where you get their feedback and using the guidance of your little sticky note pyramid thing. All right, let's go to the next one. All right. Now you're going to make the steps actionable, the solutions actionable. All right. A good guiding principle is that the action steps should take no longer than 1 to 2 weeks to complete. Right. So if you're going to write a grant and send a grant out to get money to do something, blah, 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 right? That's not going to happen in 2 weeks. Okay. Somebody needs a repair done in a classroom, or a team member needs a resource, or if a team member brings to your attention that you feel like they feel like your policy and procedures are out of date and that needs to be updated, then that's something that you have to decide. Is that something that could be done in 2 weeks? Well, it can, yeah, if I put that on the front burner, right? So 2 weeks to completion is a great time frame. You're going to assign one solution to each team member, who will execute the solution alone or with the help of another team member. All right, so ideally, everybody gets assigned to do something, or they work together with someone to get it done. And then once the group is committed to action steps, place the solution next to the action step. And you're going to be, writing this out if you have to. So the project board showing all work is a solution to the problem. I don't know what's going on with the projects in this building, right? That's the problem there. So they chose project board showing all work as the best solution to this. Just one of them. I'm just giving you one example, right? So then the action step is within 2 weeks. So person A will create a project board. Another person is going to be assigned each week to keeping the project board current. And you could go on and on and on and add other things to that. But that's very reasonable to complete within 2 weeks. And it's also the action step is indicating that it's going to be maintained. After reading this, I was thinking it might even be good to add a third person who's going to make sure it gets maintained, and if it doesn't, report back to me, so that we know that that is being kept up. So now once that board is in place with all the projects on it, then the people who are complaining or saying that the challenge is, I don't know what projects are going on, right? They really don't have any reason to say that anymore, because we are posting it. Now, just like a footnote to this, some of us have, kind of been trained to think, well, if you don't know what projects are going on, why aren't you finding out, right? I agree. I think we should be doing these things, as an employee or as a team member. I should take responsibility for my actions, right? But if somebody does say it's a challenge, and if more than one person does, then we have to take a look at our inner systems to see how we can make it better. And, just like working with young children, we want to take all those things away that could, or let's just say it this way, we want to set everybody up for success. So we want to hear what people have to say and respond to it. And if the same people are saying, I don't know what projects are going on in this place, and you have a bulletin board up, then you know what the next challenge is that you have to face, which is, how do I get these people to understand that they have to be in that mindset of, self-regulation in their job. So it's just a different way of thinking it. And it's a much healthier way. And when you have control of the systems that are going on in your place of employment, in your centers, you'll just feel empowered by that. So let's go to the next one. All right, so here's that example that I was talking about. And I'm gonna kind of go slow here to give you a chance to look at all of the wonderful things they had to say about their center, which is in yellow. And this is actual. This is actual. Actually, I obviously I couldn't upload the big poster board I used, but I created a poster board based on exactly what they said. And here's the positive things. Teamwork is available when requested. Nice environment for children to learn. These are the center directors. My center has wonderful gross motor areas. Work environments clean and safe. I'm encouraged to further my education. I have a good set of girls working at my center. I have a great support system. Parents that understand what we do. It's hard understanding. I'm not sure what that means. Collaboration between staff is always helpful. So these were all the things that they had to say. And we took that moment to celebrate and just reiterate those things and how blessed they are to have all these wonderful things, which for me, when looking at them, what I pointed out to them is, well, you have a nice array of positive things. It's not one focus. Like we have a beautiful center, we have a beautiful center, we have a beautiful center. No, it's a nice array. So then we went to the struggles. What is going on? What are your challenges? And you can see there was more than the positives, but sometimes parents are angry or complain when staff are moved to other centers, coverage when staff call off, having to hire new and train new people, not doing my office work because I'm worried about helping others. Some resources are requested and not followed up. Poor communication, knowing that all directors are on the same page with everything and conversing with them. Behavior is getting hard to manage. Children struggle to listen. Having no plans ready causes behavior problems. So they were able to identify their own actions, the company's policies, and then also what we're doing or what our teachers are doing is causing problems, which is becoming the big problem. So let's go to the next screen. So we converted them into the top problems to challenges. So you saw the little dots, okay? And they had so much fun doing this. They really had fun doing this, putting the dots in what they thought were priorities. And I really believed while I was doing this with them, and they know me for a long time because I've been consulting with their company for about 2 years. So it wasn't like I was a new person. They were excited, but they were excited for this system we were doing. And when they were putting those little dots up there, they were stating things like, oh my gosh, we're going to get this done. You know, we're going to actually do this. So the excitement there for the participation and the anticipation of actually solving some of these problems was really evident. So we turned the problems, and I did the whole pyramid thing with them, and I organized them myself. And since there were so many, and there were probably double the amount of the blue there, I placed some together that looked like they were the same threat. So we came up with director leadership, dependent and unskilled staff, and managing behaviors were the 3 challenges. Okay, so directors lacking leadership, and we didn't want to say that, we just said leadership because everybody's on different levels. And then we came up with the top bullet points for director leadership: time management, office time without interruption, changing old habits, stop doing it for them, teach them how to do it, learn how to lead instead of managing. And then in the dependent and unskilled staff, create a reward system for staff who have a growth mindset, discuss solutions with staff, check for skill set, check for work production. Are they working or doing busy work? How to respond to difficult and emotional people. There was one person that said, every time I go to speak to a staff person, she cries. And I don't know what to do. I'm very nice. I'm approaching her to correct her on, diaper changing procedure or whatever, and she cries. What do I do about that? And so we were able to talk about how to respond to people who are sensitive. And then managing behaviors. Some children's behaviors are hard to manage. Weak assistant teachers, meaning they're not doing their part in this scenario. Staff doing busy work instead of work. All right, so that's how we came up with this. So everything that they had to say got put into this. Now, what I do tell them is anything that didn't get put into the three top, they're going to stay with me. I'm going to keep the sticky notes, and we will address those either at the next meeting, or I will look at them and maybe I will try to address some of those things on my own, but we can come back to them. So you don't forget those, but you're going to come back to them. All right. So let's go to the next slide. And again, I'm hoping that you're writing down some good questions for me, because I love the feedback on this and I can't express my enthusiasm for this more. So now we take the three top problems and we converted them to challenges. This is how it looks, how we might better our leadership skills, how we might help our staff manage the classroom, how we might train new staff and monitor their skill set. So you can see clearly, we're not saying poor leadership, unskilled staff, problem behaviors anymore. We're saying, how might we better our leadership skills? Meaning we have good skills, but we need to better them. How might we help our staff manage the classroom? They're managing it. And if we've got 60 employees, we have 60 staff, everybody's doing it on a different level. So how might we help them manage it better? And then how might we train new staff and monitor their skill set? And this was a big one for them. They really wanted to learn when a staff person came on board. And, we call that onboarding, right? But onboarding is different these days in a childcare center. It's just not about, doing the checklist. It's about staying with that staff person. You're making sure that they have mastered certain skills before they should be left to do them alone. So that's how it actually looks, and it really makes it look very positive. So let's go to the next slide. All right. So this is the final step, is you're going to take those challenges and assign one of your team members to come up with a solution for that. And we did that with them. And actually people volunteered. I'll help you with the, how do we manage, how do we teach staff skills? I'll help you with this, I'll help you with that. Some people interjected, well, I already know that the company has this document, and can we just address that and look at that? And then I was able to go back to the executive director and share all of that with her and tell her what I believe is the next step. And really able to see the directors increase their leadership skills, and it worked out really well. So once they know what their solution, what their challenge is, and they have to come up with a solution, you're going to schedule short individual check-ins. So in the 2 weeks, you're going to come up with a time frame. In 2 weeks, this is the date, this is how we want it solved by then. You're going to be checking in, and it could be 5 minutes at the end of the day. How's it going? Do you need help with anything? You'll know when you're talking to that person or those team members, if they say, we haven't even started yet, and you're getting close to the final day, you don't want to extend it. You want to offer more help. What can I do to help you get to your solution? It might just be time. I might need a few minutes at the end of the day, whatever it is. All right. After 2 weeks, you're going to bring the group back together to report on the action plan. So this is another meeting, and I know that asking staff to come back for meetings is, one of the things we're always trying to avoid. But this could be a Zoom meeting where you're coming back and everybody has to report on their action plan and how it's going. The important thing is to build momentum and get the team used to having a bias toward action instead of overthinking and endlessly discussing everything. Okay, so in that meeting, it's what's your action plan? State the rules in the beginning. We're going to go around the horn, and I'm going to call on you. I want you to give me what was your challenge, what was the solution, what were your action steps, what were your challenges, or did you get there? What happened along the way? And then at the end, you're going to, obviously going to facilitate a discussion about how well they did with it. Maybe point out certain aspects of the process and get feedback from them if they like the process. And if they did, you can pull one of those sticky notes and say, well, let's go to the next issue. Here's the next issue. Does anybody want to take it on? Or maybe do 2 or 3 of them. And you can run through all of your challenges. Or you might not have any left. Maybe you've had enough big enough team that solves some of these challenges, and you want to set up another meeting to do this again. You can actually do this at every meeting. I've done this for people at their staff meeting, where I just come in and I do it at the staff meeting. I recently did this at a training. I was at a training and there was about 25 people, and I was teaching them strengthening relationships. And the director said, well, I really love my center. I really love my staff, but I would like to know how they feel about me. And I looked around the room and I thought, no one is going to raise their hand. It's just no one is going to raise their hand. I mean, that's putting people on the spot, right? So I said, does anybody want to give her feedback? And nobody raised their hand. So I said, well, let's get some sticky notes out. And I told them to write on the sticky note, each person had to write one thing positive and then one challenge. And at the end of the day, I went up to her and I said, I hope you found that a valuable tool. And she said, oh, you'll never know. So I think she got some good feedback as far as what things that she needs to do to improve her team. It's not bad. It's not negative. We all know that feedback is what helps us grow, right? But if we're expecting people to just pick us up and put us on a pedestal, that's not going to get us anywhere. So you could use this really anywhere, but you want to remember, you want to build the momentum, get them used to thinking about action, taking action. If someone doesn't come up with a solution and they said they were going to, so they were going to put their bulletin board up and they didn't, and you've been checking in with them, you have to think about what is most comfortable for you to do at that point. Again, I'm a believer in setting people up for success. So I'm going to be checking in. If I don't see that bulletin board up, I'm going to be checking in. Or if I'm expecting an email from someone who said they're going to create a document that's going to be easy for us to follow for the routine of hand washing, and I don't get that, I'm going to be following up and I'm going to be saying, what help do you need? Let me put you with so-and-so who can maybe help you get through this. But it's real important that we see that board by Friday, or I get that document by Friday, and let's do it. If you don't, if you don't get it, I think it's going to give you more information about that person who's trying to solve these challenges. And you know that next time you have to team them up with somebody strong who maybe could be a good role model for them. All right, let's go to the next one. We are here at the end of the presentation. I really hope you enjoyed this. What I want you to know is I forgot to ask Alicia how to disseminate a document to you. I guess she can email it to you. I'll email it to her. I can give you the actual steps to facilitate this if you want to. The other thing is you can reach out to me at luann.help@gmail.com, and I would be happy to facilitate this for you at your next staff meeting. I can do it via Zoom. If you're close enough in the Northeast PA, or other places, I'm out and about. I don't know. I was in Mechanicsburg last week, which was like 3.5 hours. But I would be happy to do that. You just have to send me an email. We can discuss how that would go down. But I would come in and I would do the meeting for you, show you how to do it. And then, and then we go on from there. And then I ask you to, if you can, just check out my website, happyearlylearningprofessionals.com. There's a lot of opportunity there for consulting and coaching. It doesn't have to be anything really big. If you have a question about your work, about leadership, I'd be happy to answer it. There's no strings attached. I love to do that. I do it all the time. And then anything else you might need, just reach out. But if you have any questions, we can open it up now. Anybody have any questions? While we're waiting, if you don't have any questions, if you can just put in the chat a comment about this presentation, if it was helpful, you might use it. You thought it was too long, you think it's too complicated. I would love to hear feedback from you. And you can unmute if you have a question, just go ahead and unmute.
Luann, I have a question.
Yes.
So this sounds like it's a great in-person facilitation, but how could one implement this virtually? Where we do have maybe sometimes teams that might not be able to do this in person, but we could meet virtually to do this. How easy is it to implement it virtually?
Yeah, that's a great question. AJ Smart actually created this for Google and some other companies to use virtually. And there is a platform that you can use that makes it really easy. And I'm sorry, I don't remember the name of it, but I can get that to you. But just picture this: you would have to be the facilitator. Let's say I'm facilitating for you and your team. I'm the facilitator virtually, and then you would be the mentor helper on the other end in person if you had partial virtual, partial group. If you had the whole group doing it virtual, it would be the same thing. And you have the whiteboard right behind you with the boat, and they're communicating with you through the chat. And in this platform, it's not a chat, it's like a chat. And you'll have to write them down and put them on the board, or through the platform, you actually can populate their responses right on the whiteboard that's on your screen on your computer. So it was actually created for a virtual platform for Google, believe it or not. So I'd be happy to share that with you when I send you the PDF. I'll put that in the PDF if anybody wants to do it. It's very simple. I think it's actually a free app on your computer, free platform, and it's just simulates as a whiteboard, and it's very, very easy to use.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so good. It looks like some people really enjoyed it. Even if you use it on a small scale, or try it with just a couple of people, you can do it with a group of 1 to 3 and try it with them. Or if you're having a meeting with a one-on-one, let's say you're meeting one-on-one with a team member, and you want to get information from that team member, maybe they're more comfortable, they're not as comfortable verbalizing how they feel. You could ask them, write it down on a sticky note, write down what your challenges you're facing right now. I think it's very important to write things down. I really do. I think it helps keep us, well, first of all, we're so busy that we forget, sometimes what we were doing, especially if you're a leader in the field. You've got so many tasks that you're doing. It's great to structure your time where you know exactly what you were working on yesterday and where you need to go tomorrow on it. And so same thing for goals and structure and action plans. And many people who, sometimes I generalize a lot, but I work so much with early educators in the field who really are just new at this and they don't understand the professionalism piece. And so they need a lot of training in that. And so this type of a training or this type of a meeting helps them to put what they're thinking on paper in words that actually come out or turn out to be more aligned with a professional statement as opposed to what they might just say. And so they need that practice. They really do. They need that practice of shifting from, worker bee to, I am in this field and the way I approach everything, I need to do that in a professional way. And so this is a good way of doing that. And then that whole piece about people coming to a meeting and chatting a lot about Joey, Susie, Mary, and everything else. I know it's a great, you should always give them that 5-10 minutes in the beginning to talk and say hello. I mean, especially if you're bringing a group together that don't see each other often. In that situation that I showed you, they work in different buildings. So they had lunch prior to, and then they had about 10 minutes before the meeting started to, just catch up with each other. Same thing for your team. You want to give them a few minutes to say hello and this, that, and the other thing, but then set the ground rules for the meeting. So I think that's a wrap, Elisa. I really appreciate being here today. Thank you, everyone, so much. Please reach out if you have any questions. I would love to hear from you if you need clarification, and we'll get that PDF. So, Elisa, how can we deliver that PDF to them?
Yeah, so after this presentation, it was recorded. So this will get sent out to everyone who registered, even if they didn't attend. And in that email, they can receive that attachment and any other resources that you want to provide.
Okay, awesome, terrific. Thank you so much, and thank you so much to the council for allowing me to do this today. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you for doing this for us. I think this was a great and informative. I think I'm in consensus with the audience here that this was a really good session and a very different way to approach how to make decisions and not just focusing on all of the problems and getting a good group consensus on getting everyone involved in solving those problems. So thank you so much for providing this for us.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you, everyone, and have an awesome weekend.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Have a good weekend. We are on Friday. Have a good weekend.